The scream cut through the afternoon like a blade, sharp and desperate, echoing between concrete walls under the harsh daylight. Heads turned, cars slowed, and in that single frozen second, when fear swallowed the air, a little girl clutched her father's shirt with trembling hands, her eyes locked on a woman collapsing on the sidewalk as two men loomed over her. Before the world could decide whether to look away or step in, a single dad moved forward, not knowing that this moment would rewrite his entire life. If you believe that kindness still matters in a world that often feels cold and unfair, take a moment right now to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel for more stories about second chances and humanity. Armin Halim had never imagined being a hero. His life was built on small, ordinary victories, waking up early to pack lunch, tying shoelaces, making sure his daughter made it to school on time. Since losing his wife 4 years earlier, he had learned to survive in fragments, holding himself together for the sake of 6-year-old Rania. Every day was a quiet battle against exhaustion and grief, fought under the bright sun of routine responsibility. That afternoon, they were walking home from the public library, the sky clear, the city alive with noise and movement, when chaos found them. The woman on the pavement was struggling to stand, her handbag torn, papers scattered like fallen leaves. The two men were shouting, aggressive and careless, their anger visible even from a distance. People watched. Some slowed. Some crossed the street. Fear had a way of making decent people disappear. Armin felt Rania's small fingers tighten around him, felt her fear travel straight into his chest. He tried to steer them away, tried to pretend it wasn't happening, but then Rania tugged harder, her face pale, her eyes pleading. She begged him to help the woman, not understanding the danger, only the pain in front of her. Armin was not strong by nature. He worked nights unloading shipments at a warehouse, his body always tired, his hands rough but not trained for violence. Yet something ancient and unstoppable rose inside him. It wasn't courage or anger. It was responsibility, the kind that came from being someone's entire world. He stepped forward under the open sky, his heart pounding, his mind screaming at him to stop. What followed happened fast, almost unreal. One man shoved him back. Another reached for the woman again. Armin reacted on instinct, pulling the first man off balance, using weight and momentum rather than strength. The second lunged, and Armin met him with raw desperation, fueled by the sound of his daughter crying behind him. The struggle was messy, clumsy, and frightening, but it ended with both men on the ground, stunned and scrambling away as bystanders finally rushed in and someone called for help. When the police arrived, the woman was safe, shaken but conscious. Armin stood there breathing hard, hands trembling, trying to explain himself while keeping Rania pressed against his side. Statements were taken, questions were asked. Eventually, he was allowed to go home. No applause, no recognition, just the quiet return to a life that felt heavier than before. That night, Armin barely slept. His muscles ached, his mind replayed every second, and fear crept in late, whispering about what could have gone wrong. He worried about retaliation, about legal trouble, about how close he came to leaving his daughter alone in the world. By morning, the fear had settled into exhaustion, and he went to work like nothing had changed. But something had. Across the city, in a glass tower that reflected the daylight like a mirror to the sky, a woman named Sophia Noor sat. In her office, staring at the skyline with hands that still trembled slightly. She was the CEO of a multinational logistics firm, known for her sharp decisions and unbreakable composure. Yesterday, that composure had shattered on a public sidewalk. She had collapsed under stress and dehydration after an intense board meeting, targeted by opportunistic men who saw vulnerability as profit. And when she thought the world would let her fall, a stranger stepped in. Sophia remembered the fear, the pavement against her cheek, and then the sight of a man shielding a little girl while putting himself between her and danger. She remembered his eyes, not fierce, not proud, but terrified and determined at the same time. That image followed her into the night, refusing to let her rest. By morning, she made a decision that surprised her entire executive team. She wanted to find him. Security footage was reviewed. Police reports were requested. Within hours, a name surfaced. Armin Halim, warehouse worker, single father, no criminal record, lives modestly. The details hit her harder than expected. This wasn't someone who had power or protection. This was someone who had risked everything with nothing to gain. Meanwhile, Armin's day was unraveling quietly. At work, his supervisor pulled him aside, uneasy and distant. Someone had recognized him from a shaky phone video already spreading online, clipped and stripped of context. Two men on the ground. A crowd. Raised voices. Liability was mentioned. Armin was told to take a few days off while things were reviewed. It wasn't a firing, but it felt like the ground shifting beneath him. He walked home in the afternoon heat, holding Ranya's hand, trying to hide the worry in his chest. Bills waited. Rent loomed. Life did not pause for bravery. That evening, he sat on the edge of his bed, wondering if doing the right thing had quietly ruined them. The knock came the next day, just after noon. Bright sunlight poured through the window as Armin opened the door, expecting a neighbor or perhaps bad news. Instead, he saw two sharply dressed assistants and a woman whose presence seemed to command the space without effort. Sophia Noor stood there, eyes steady, expression gentle but resolute. She didn't speak immediately. She simply looked at him, as if confirming something she already knew. Then she thanked him, not with grand gestures, not with dramatic flair, but with sincerity so heavy it made his throat tighten. She spoke about fear, about vulnerability, about how rare it was to be truly seen in a moment of weakness. She spoke about Rania, about what it meant to be raised by someone who chose compassion even when it was dangerous. Armin listened in stunned silence. He didn't know what to say. He didn't know why this powerful woman stood in his small apartment. He only knew that the weight he'd been carrying cracked open, letting air in. Sophia didn't come to reward him. She came to restore balance. She offered legal support if needed. She offered to ensure his job was safe. More than that, she offered opportunity. Not charity, but a chance. Her company needed someone to oversee a new community safety initiative focused on employee welfare and public responsibility. Someone who understood real risk, real stakes. Someone who acted without cameras or applause. Armin didn't answer right away. He looked at Rania, who was watching quietly from the doorway, her earlier fear replaced with curiosity. He thought about the warehouse nights, the exhaustion, the constant anxiety of barely enough. He thought about dignity. About example. He agreed, not because it was glamorous, but because it felt right. The weeks that followed were transformative. Armin trained, learned, stumbled, and grew. He was respected not because of a title, but because of who he was. Rania watched her father change, not into someone else, but into a fuller version of himself. Their days were still simple, still grounded, but hope now lived with them openly, in daylight, unafraid. The video online faded as quickly as it had appeared. The world moved on, but something lasting remained. In Sophia, who redefined leadership through gratitude. In Armin, who learned that courage doesn't always punish those who carry it. And in Rania, who would grow up knowing that her small voice, spoken in fear and compassion, had changed everything. If this story touched your heart even a little, please take a moment now to like the video, share it, and subscribe. Your engagement helps keep stories like this alive for others who need them. And before this story ends, leave a comment telling us one moment in your life when you chose kindness, even when it was hard. Under the bright, ordinary sun of another day, Armin walked his daughter to school, their shadows long on the pavement. The world was still imperfect, still dangerous, still unfair. But somewhere between fear and hope, a single choice had proven that doing the right thing, even once, could echo far beyond the moment, quietly reshaping lives in ways no one could ever fully measure.